hppodcraft.com.
Hi there, everybody. This is Chris Sarandon, and I'm sending a shout out to everybody on the H.P. Lovecraft Literary Podcast. Happy 10 years, guys. Let's do another 500.
It's the HP Podcraft 500th episode special, starring Chris Lackey and Chad Pfeiffer, with special guests Kenneth Hite, Grieg Johnson, Heather Klinke, Rachel Lackey, Charo, Lying Vincent Price, and his guests, George Clooney and the Queen, with the comedy stylings of Louis C.K.
Stand-up Frankenstein's Monster.
A tribute to the Phantom by the Solid Gold Dancers by Precious. And a reanimated appearance by an unwilling Paul Lynde, featuring a world premiere performance by the greatest goth band of all time. Reuniting after 25 years, it's Pitch Black Manor. And now, here are your hosts, Chad Pfeiffer and Chris Lackey.
Hey, Chris, I thought you might want some hot cocoa.
Chad, thank you. Oh, this isn't hot cocoa.
Oh, no, it's not. I just thought you might want some after you drink that. Really tastes bad, huh?
Yeah, what is it?
Don't worry about it. You already drank it. And you'll find out in about a half hour anyway.
What?
We got a lot of history to cover, Chris. 10 years of shows, 500 episodes, and that doesn't even count in the readings, the fiction, our special episode on Beowulf. I mean, who can forget that video submission contest we did for that? The answer is everybody. Nobody submitted a video.
Hey, no reason to be cross. We've had a great run, and we're here in the Witch House. A great library, vintage design, and a warm fire to keep us snug.
That's right. We've been doing this show from the odd ends of two different countries for years, but for this special, we've reunited at the intersection of space and time in the Witch House. A little dangerous getting here, but once you're inside, it is quite pleasant.
So snug, I don't have to wear clothes.
Yes, you've been nude this whole time. I'm now learning, except I already knew that because we are standing or sitting here in this house right now. Speaking of which, I'm going to change out of these roller skates. I've also been wearing them all the time.
500 episodes! It's been a heck of a journey. We've not only covered Lovecraft, but writers Lovecraft loved. Arthur Machen, Robert E. Howard, Edgar Allan Poe, and so many more.
Not to mention all of the monster classics, Dracula, Frankenstein, and next week we're doing a story about a werebee.
Yeah!
So that's a classic. When civilization crumbles, these will be the moments humanity is remembered for.
Speaking of which, did you remember to invite Andrew Leman over?
Yes, I did, and he's gonna be here, buddy, I promise.
It's just that, for my birthday.
I know. Andrew's a very busy man, but he promised that this time he's gonna make it.
Okay, as long as you say so.
I do say so. Now I'm gonna run into the kitchen real quick and check on my wife and frequent guest reader Heather Klinke. Can you just finish that up real quick for me?
Oh, sure. Oh, wait, why did I drink that again?
I'll just wash that up for you, thanks.
Hey, is he asking about Andrew already?
Yeah, any updates?
As far as I know, he's on his way. But I just saw on the news that the internet's gone dark in Pennsylvania and mail service is suspended. Chad, they're asking for vintage telegrams to get them through the crisis.
Damn it. Well, I understand Andrew has responsibilities, but I'm afraid the only telegram we'll be sending tonight will read, Lackey has a broken heart. Stop.
All right, Chris, I've got the bedrooms all made up. Aren't any of you bothered by the blood trickling down the wall?
Well, if it isn't my wife, Rachel Lackey!
Hello, everybody.
Why are you carrying an open cage?
Is it open? Whoop. I caught something upstairs lurking about.
What, like a mouse?
Part mouse, yeah. Maybe part squid. Definitely had a human face vibe going on.
Oh, that's squiggly. She'll turn up.
Hi guys, we're back with some cocoa.
Oh, great. But you only have 4 mugs. Don't we need one for Andrew?
Heather, why are you and Chad looking at each other so pensively?
I get it.
It's probably just the wind or an avalanche, Chris. Don't get your hopes up.
Rachel, come with me into the kitchen for explaining stuff.
Hey, it's author and game designer Kenneth Hite. Ken, welcome.
Hey, Ken, great to have you.
Oh, man, it was hard to find this place, except for the purple glow and the line of rats outdoors. But here I am.
So, Ken, I went back and looked. In 2009, you were on our show.
Yeah,
We talked about
yeah.
Nyarlathotep and the Crawling Chaos. When we conceived the show way back in the day, I had this idea of covering H.P. Lovecraft stories as they were written, And then I had just picked up your Tour to Lovecraft book that had come out a little bit before that.
Yeah, like the year before that, I think.
And I thought to myself, look at this. This guy is doing exactly what I wanted to do with our podcast. Let's rip him off.
Yes, please. That is why anyone ever writes a book, is to be ripped off by other people.
Well, and we knew that we had to get you on the show.
Yes.
So it was only the 18th episode before we were able to get you on board.
Well, I was happy to do it.
And over the years, your appearances on the show have been some of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, what a lovely coincidence.
You always bring so much enthusiasm and knowledge to the show. And I was wondering, because we had just covered, we just revisited The Color Out of Space, and we're looking at some of other Lovecraft stuff that we did back then, kind of a revisit. How do you keep up your enthusiasm for this kind of material, or is it even something you have to try to do?
I mean, something either sticks with you or it doesn't. You go through little phases and fads, or I do at least. And so there's stuff that I'm either researching for a game or that I'm sort of into. And if you asked me to come back and talk about it 10 years later, I would be like, well, let me do the research and I'll fake it for the purpose of the episode. But something that I think really gets its hooks into you in adolescence will stick with you unless you deliberately try to drive it away. So I don't think I can ever, for example, read any of Lovecraft's killer first lines, west of Arkham, the hills rise wild, and not immediately be right back there, on the couch in Oklahoma City reading the torn up Lancer paperback that my dad owned and that I loaned to my best friend, and then he lost it.
Well, at least you're over it.
And have those exact joys recur. I mean, it's not quite the same thing as reading it for the first time, but it's that same first urge. It's like any pop music you were listening to when you were 13 or 14 is like a song you still love, even though you may look back and say, well, objectively, that was just like all pop music. But this is my pop music. This is when I got my learner's permit. Yeah. This is when I don't know if it's just that's when your bloodstream is being flooded with alcohol and testosterone. And so there's some sort of matrix that gets set up, or if it's just, it happens to everybody. But to me, I think that if you fall in love hard with something in your adolescence, you're going to stick with it. And then the great joy of it is that Lovecraft is actually worth the sticking with. He's an amazing artist. He's a great writer. I mean, we've had this conversation sober and tipsy over the decades.
Lovecraft was a great writer, but was he good?
Yes, he was also good. We had that. That was good fun.
That was a long discussion.
That was a long discussion in poor Donovan Luck's house during Necronomicon in Providence.
Right,
Great fun. Donovan, showing again that he's the smartest of all of us, was in an entirely different room for it.
That's right. He stayed out of it.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, I've been going back through the material as I'm writing games with it or as I'm doing anything else with it, and you just re-engage, and it's always engaging. It's always amazing. Thank God it was Lovecraft that I fell for instead of, I don't know, Seabury Quinn or something. Imagine how embarrassing that would be.
Well, you said something. You said that your copy of Lovecraft that you had was your dad's.
Yeah.
So your dad read Lovecraft.
Yeah, at some point. I mean, we didn't really talk a lot about it. I think that he read it and then tossed it. If he really valued it, it wouldn't have been in the box of books in the garage. But
hey, yeah. By the way, too, Chris, I got my Vampire Lestat copy from the box of books in the garage that my dad put out there, and I'm sure he wasn't reading any Anne Rice. He just happened to have the book.
Yeah. No, this was the Lancer Lovecraft. I read Color Out of Space first in a Groff Conklin anthology. I think it was called something like Adventures in Space and Time or something like that. And that was all about Campbell era astounding stories. Jawed Earthmen fighting off monsters, and then you hit the Color Out of Space, and it's like, oh, that's not like the rest of these stories at all. This is literally terrifying. And then I recognized the author's name when I stumbled on the old Dunwich Horror and Other Stories collection in the garage. And I thought, H.P. Lovecraft, I know that name. And I read those out over the next few months, rationing myself because I had no idea if there would ever be more. And that finished the job that Color Out of Space had started, I think. There was a lot of great stuff in there. Dunwich Horror and Color Out of Space and Whisper in Darkness and Shadow over Innsmouth. It was a very strong collection, as I recall. So I fell for it hard and honestly.
This whole journey started with a tour to Lovecraft for us and for you, and there's a follow-up on the way, isn't there?
Yes, there is. The second book in the series, Tour to Lovecraft, The Destinations, which was delayed for a year while I designed Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. I got back to it. I have literally, as we speak, just finished the index, which is the last thing, and then out it goes. So it should be, by the time this is aired, at the very least, it'll be in PDF. I mean, Lord knows if there will be a publishing, trucking, or retail industry on the other side of this. But if there is, you'll be able to find it in your favorite gamer bookstore, I'm sure. But it's certainly up on the Atomic Overmind Press site in PDF.
Well, everybody needs to pick that up and check it out. Ken, it's been such a joy to have you on the show over these years, and I hope that you'll continue to come and visit us, possibly to talk some Fritz Leiber in the future.
Would love to. Can't wait. 500 episodes. Big achievement. 500 great episodes. Also a big achievement. Perhaps even a bigger achievement. Only, I think, someone who also has a multiple award-winning podcast can recognize how great an achievement you've accomplished. Well done, guys.
Thanks.
And such great fun. This is always just a delightful hangout for me. I love it. I love you guys.
Thank you so much. We love you, Ken.
Yeah, well, we love you back.
All right, Ken, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Watch out on you. Oh, no!
Oh, it appears who saw that coming up?
I am so glad Ken stopped by. What a great guy. In all seriousness, we don't deserve him.
Yeah, Ken is a wonderful human being, a pleasure to talk to, and one fine-looking gentleman.
That is true. He sure is.
I just wish he would have brought us some raw meat.
Chris, you've been a vegetarian for like 25 years or more, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Huh. I should probably ponder why this is happening to me.
No. It's time to recap some of our favorite moments from shows over the last 10 years. But maybe not the moments that everyone's familiar with.
That's right. As you know, we edit the show quite a bit, and sometimes some great stuff hits the cutting room floor.
And some of it can get pretty emotional. Let's listen to this outtake from our episode on the time machine.
Chad, it's okay, bud. Kate and Leopold had a happy ending.
For now!
Wow, that was such a great moment. So emotional.
That's nothing compared to the full-on meltdown I have queued up for this next clip. But, I gotta be honest, now I kind of want to watch Kate and Leopold.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, Kate. I am a man out of time, Kate. I'll never understand this crazy world. But you understand me, and that's what matters. Does it? Does it matter, Kate?
What are they doing in there?
They're supposed to be doing outtakes, but it looks like they're watching Kate and Leopold again. What are we going to do about this Andrew situation?
I have an idea, but it involves destroying Pennsylvania.
Go on.
Kate, the pain I feel spans time. You silly old man. All I care is that you love me. All I care is that you don't have the right to vote.
It's probably nobody. Hey, let's keep watching Kate and Leopold.
Nobody? What are you talking about? It's superstar comedian Grieg Johnson.
Did someone say 500th episode?
Greg, you son of a bitch.
Grieg, you have read on our show multiple times.
Yes, 30-something times.
But you have never actually been a guest on our show.
I never have. I've tried, but I'm just not an authority on anything at all. As I'm going to go on to prove.
So we've got you on now. Can you give us 500 episodes worth of knowledge?
Yes, I can. I mean, I've been here since fairly early on. I distinctly remember I got into you just after you did your live show in Leeds. So I'm something of an expert. I'm definitely a long-time fan, first-time caller.
When you are listening, do you find yourself correcting us or interjecting?
Just occasionally. Sometimes Chris will call me as a friend and say, we haven't spoken in ages, and I will try to refute that because his voice has been in my head so much. And then occasionally it's the other way around when you're having like a coffee with Chris and he'll sort of laugh and go, oh golly, and you think, oh, he did his catchphrase.
Oh
golly.
I've got a catchphrase.
Of course you've got a catchphrase. 500 episodes in, you're hit with the knowledge you have a catchphrase.
My relationship with you, Grieg, is completely due to the show. You were a fan of my podcast, and then you sent me an email one day about like if I was going to do any kind of film projects or anything like that you would be more than happy to lend your help. And you sent me a link to some of your videos, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's awesome. Let's go get a coffee. And then we met and we became fast friends.
Well, that was the thing, was realizing that my one of the hosts of my absolute favorite podcast in the world, which it still is, lived less than an hour from my house. So I thought, right, let's reach out, let's be positive and optimistic. And I sort of, So, and I'd seen you on the DVD extras. So I was stalking you basically to decide whether you were for me. And I'd seen your dodgy green screen work on the DVD extras of Whisperer in Darkness.
Yeah, those are rough.
And I thought, this guy, if anyone needs video help,
that's me.
It's this guy.
That's funny.
So I emailed you, and 3 weeks later, you were sat right at the front as a guest at my wedding.
Yeah. It was one of those things where Rachel and I really loved going to weddings, and I heard Greg was getting married, and somehow we muscled our way into his wedding after only being friends for a few weeks.
Nice trick.
Yeah, I know.
Just all my favorite podcast hosts. No family, no friends. I just hired them all in. So yeah, we can. I mean, I think it's testament to your boundless enthusiasm that I was like, I'd love to read for the podcast maybe sometimes, and if you're ever sort of in Leeds in the next 6 months, we could maybe. And as I recall, your response was, "Let's go for a drink tomorrow."
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is good. This is that LA enthusiasm that I need in my life.
LA
We've done short
enthusiasm.
films. We've written comedies, also involving Chad, of course, and it's been wonderful. I'm friends with the guys who do my favorite podcast. It's crazy.
Well, you've delivered in some of the classic episodes too. Frankenstein, Jekyll and Hyde.
Frankenstein was I think a bit of a watermark for me. There was a very lovely lady who approached me in Providence and said, "I didn't like you as a reader at first, but then you got good." And I said, thanks.
Thank you. I guess so.
Yeah, so somewhere I heard about the H.P. Lovecraft Literary Podcast, and I can't remember really, but it's one of the first. It's the only, I think, podcast from that time that I still listen to, and I re-listen to. I remember Rachel Lackey, when I said I've listened to many of them more than once, and she just said, "Why?"
I'm with her. I don't get the appeal going back and listening to the old episodes.
Well, at the risk of being sincere, you guys are very, very good company. And I think the readings are great, the atmosphere, I think Chad's sound design and music and the atmosphere you give to stuff is not to be underestimated. And they're just classics that you put on again, like music. Lair of the White Worm, I mean, I've listened to that. I don't know, probably 10 times. Just put it on. Put it on again. Listen it to the end, just move the needle back and just put it on again. But it's great company. Like, while I'm sort of particularly, if you're doing a thing in like Photoshop or making a prop or just working, it's my number one, company go-to.
Oh, that's great. If you were to come on the show, is there any particular stuff you would be interested in talking about?
I don't know, really. I'm very interested in the subject of sort of, I was saying to Chris the other day, like comedy and Lovecraft. Because I do think he's particularly someone who you can love and mock at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
You can be very aware of all the sort of tropes and the, not shortcomings, but, the kind of florid over-the-topness, which I think is kind of what we love.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's weird when something occupies that space too, right? Because there's things that you're disdainful of that you mock, and then there's things that you really love that there can be nothing wrong with it. And there's the odd thing where it's very flawed, yet you love it deeply. So it's equally funny and equally wonderful, I
find the things that I love deeply, I know are flawed, and maybe that's partially why I do like them so much. He's got his faults, and unlike Ken Hite, I don't think he was necessarily the best writer that ever lived. But I think he was great in his own way, which again sounds a bit shady, but it's true.
We want something unique, don't we? And something with a strong flavor. You don't want necessarily smooth, sort of ticking all the narrative boxes, beginnings, middles, and endings. And it's like the same thing with Stephen King. It's like, you don't want to take out the sort of cosmic turtles and it's like
exactly, yeah.
Because you want things to be able to kind of point at and go, oh, look, that's funny, or like, oh, that book's too long.
It's kind of like, Chris, you remember Heather Hopster's dog Dugan? It was a big
I do. Of course I do.
Rottweiler. And one time a sock went missing from around her house, and she was down on the beach with Dugan, and there was a little thread coming out of his bum. She tugged at it, and the whole sock came out.
Oh.
Now, do you wish that hadn't happened? Is it gross? Is that something unpleasant about Dugan? Yes. But did it make me love that dog more? Yeah.
Did life just get a bit more interesting?
Yeah.
Of course it did.
I wish that didn't happen and that she didn't have that unpleasant experience, but it made that dog a little more awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I pulled a sock out of a dog today is something you can say with a bit of quite a lot of trauma, or you can just say, like, I pulled a sock out of a dog today.
Yeah.
Hot damn. I really did something this afternoon. So your show is like pulling a sock out of a dog.
Yeah.
Every time. Well, it's a lovely place you got here. I'm going to take this wine away with me because we haven't opened it. I hope that's okay.
No, leave that here.
Oh, okay. I'll take the bag of chips.
Yeah, sure.
You can have the chips. You said chips.
Yeah, you can have...
I did. I'm making an effort.
You are making an effort. But don't go out the front door. Go out go up the stairs and to the left. There's a big portal. Go through that. That's the safest way. There's something out in the front lawn. You shouldn't mess with that.
Stay away from that.
Yeah, I'll portal back to Leeds.
Okay.
Sounds good.
We'll see ya.
Lots of love. Love you guys. Bye. Enjoy the rest of the night.
It was so nice to have Grieg visit. Hopefully he had fun. To be honest, I was a little distracted by my heightened sense of smell and, well, a feeling of transparency.
You've had a long day, buddy. Maybe it's time for you to turn in. I'm sure Andrew would be happy to come by at a later time.
No way. I'm staying up all night if I have to. I'll just watch some TV until he gets here.
Kate, the people at the shopping mall laughed at my outfit. How will I ever fit in? You just need someone to take you shopping. Like me.
Hey, Heather and Rachel. Looks like Chris is gonna stay up all night waiting for Andrew.
Why are you looking at me like that, Chad? Ow! Heather, did you kick me? Oh, right. I remember now from a few minutes ago.
Everything okay, guys?
Yeah, we're just practicing karate over here.
Oh, okay. I'll just keep watching TV.
Good thing we were already dressed in karate outfits.
Kate, this modern world has changed me.
Hey, guys, check this out.
It seems that a giant monster has risen from the depths of Pennsylvania and is quite quickly and efficiently destroying the entire state. Obviously, there's a number of things to report on as the situation unfolds, but this reporter wants to let viewers know that at least we don't need any vintage telegrams here anymore. So anybody who is going to be working on that, you're free to do other stuff. This is a reporter, here on the news.
My God, this is horrific.
Hey, did you guys... Rachel, are you giving me a knowing smile?
Let's just say we've picked up a few things over the years.
Well, don't worry about 3 wishes, because I think just this one will do.
Hello?
Andrew!
Hey, you guys. It's me.
Andrew Leman, you're here!
Yeah, hi. I made it.
You did, and there's no reason to talk about why. Welcome. Andrew, though, I'm so glad to have you here.
I am so glad to be here, you guys. I wouldn't have missed your 500th episode for the world. I am so proud of you. I am so honored to have been a part of this project from nearly the beginning, and it has been one of the joys of my last few years to be here from time to time and to listen to every episode. I got to tell you, 500 episodes, not a clinker in the bunch. You guys are brilliant every ding-dang week. And especially since I miss both of you so much in my daily life, to be able to hear you and spend, a reliable 30 minutes with you in my car every week is a joy. So I want to say thank you. I want to say congratulations.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know what to say to that other than we are so lucky to have you on the show as frequently as we do. It's not enough. And certainly, I don't think we'd have a fraction of the listeners that we have now if you weren't stepping in to read for us.
Well,
in fact, a lot of the time, the biggest criticism we probably get is everything was going well until you guys got on.
Have we talked about our relationship, like how we met and how we got to know each other, Andrew?
Not outside of therapy.
Well,
there was some court mandated discussion of that.
Yeah.
Well, that was a whole other thing. No, well, I met Andrew through a mutual friend, Jamie Anderson.
Yeah, who I just spoke to the other week. He's
good.
Yeah, he and his family are doing fine. They still live in the Quad Cities. They're in Rock Island. So yeah, I spoke to Jamie just a week ago.
Oh, but we played a live action role playing game.
Yeah,
that was set in the Quad Cities, and Andrew was a player, and I was one of the NPCs. I think the first time I actually interacted with you, I was a hillbilly that was aligned with Migos.
Yeah, I seem to recall that.
And then I ushered you into a Migo birthing chamber. And then I had a brief conversation with you after the game, but not much, because obviously you knew a lot of people there and I had never met you before. So that was it. But when I moved to LA, you moved to LA about a year later after me, maybe 2. I don't remember exactly. Jamie said, oh, my friend Andy, he just moved out to LA. You should get in touch with him. I'm like, oh, I remember that guy.
Right.
And so I called you, and then you had me over to your apartment. We watched movies, we ate pizza, and we just, hit it off. And then that's started a lifelong friendship that culminated in doing another live action role-playing game, the Call of Cthulhu movie, the Whisper in Darkness movie.
Yep.
This podcast.
Are you sure that's how you guys met, though? Because I swear to God, I just saw that. That was the meet cute in the wedding planner. The exact same thing.
It does have an oddly Hollywood ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Well,
live action game. It was in the Quad Cities. The whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there is ongoing litigation with the production company on that.
The game in question was one that Jamie ran, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because then later we did another. Then I ran a game that was like Jamie's bachelor party, basically, when he got married to Keisha.
Yes.
And you were part. You were part of that too, right?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. So we've played Cthulhu Lives together a couple of times.
Yeah, and then I think I met you when I came in to help with. Chris wrote me in to come help with the game that you were running out here in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was the one with the helicopter rental.
Yeah.
Out in the desert.
Yeah, that's when we sort of realized that we were putting so much work into these live action games that we really ought to be making movies out of them, because it was, we rented a helicopter, we flew people into the middle of the Mojave Desert. It's like,
Yeah,
that's what I thought we were doing. I was in there for a scene, and it was at a swimming pool, and this guy was being bathed naked, and there were all of these NPCs around, and I thought, this is a weird scene, man. I really like this.
Yeah,
it's too bad that I'm the only one watching this.
Yeah,
this is something that a lot of people should probably be seeing.
The end of that game was weird, because the investigators totally betrayed my NPC character and set him up to take the fall for the whole thing. I was so stunned by the twist ending that I never saw coming, even though I had written the game. It's like, you're pinning this whole thing on me? Yeah, it was a pretty brilliant turn of events there. Oh well.
Your enthusiasm and support for our show. I mean, you are the third member of this podcast.
And I never take it for granted. I'm always so happy that you're continuing to work with us. I never just expect it.
No.
I should play harder to get, apparently.
No. Don't take the wrong thing out of this. I'm still going to set up electrical fencing around your house.
Okay. Glad you think of me that way. I would like to think of myself that way, and
do.
Do it. I'm in it for another 500 episodes if you guys are.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. And don't think we couldn't do it.
Thank you so much for stopping by the Witch House. And again, without you, this podcast wouldn't have lasted as long as it has.
Yeah, we love you. Thank you so much for stopping by. And be careful on your way out. Ken had a problem leaving. I actually don't know if he's even in existence anymore.
So. Well, that would be a terrible tragedy for all of us. I'll go look for him.
No, don't do that.
No, that's all right. Just make sure you get out.
Okay,
the safe way. That's the sign.
Just not the front door.
I see. Okay. Oh, I see it over here. All right, guys, listen.
No, not that.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, no.
Gosh, did you hear that last thing he said was italicized, too? We shouldn't have let him go out.
Oh, dang it.
Well, Chris, I guess that pretty much wraps things up.
It does. Except I just looked in the mirror. There was nothing there, except for a full moon. That stuff you gave me to drink. Did you turn me into a ghost of a werewolf?
No, Chris. That was ordinary, everyday toilet water. The ghost of a werewolf was inside you all along.
Oh, wow. It's a 500th episode miracle.
I want to thank Levi Nunez for his voice work. He was our announcer at the top, and also that newscaster we heard. So amazing. For a second, I thought Greta Van Susteren was in the room. I didn't know what was going on.
I know. We also, of course, have to thank our guests, Andrew, Greg, and Ken. And Ryan Vincent Price didn't really deliver on any of those promises.
Didn't I? So hard to work
We
with
also,
that
of
guy.
course, have to thank Rachel and Heather. We couldn't do the show without them.
And we also want to thank our patrons and listeners for sticking with us all these years. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will be back with our regular programming next week, covering The Drone by A. Merritt.
To close out the show, we've got some special musical guests.
Yeah, so as many of our listeners know, I used to be in a band called Pitch Black Manor. We talked about that right on our first episode. We played our last show together on Halloween in 1995. And in all the years in between, we've batted around getting together again. Well, current developments in the world have suddenly created an environment where that's possible. We had some time on our hands, and so in the last 2 months, we have reunited to create the greatest goth album, I'd say maybe even the greatest album of all time. The album is called Monster Classics, and it's 13 tracks. It covers all the best monsters. We got Draculas, we got Frankensteins, Hunchbacks, witches, brides. You guys are gonna love it. Of course, there's a song about Lovecraftian ghouls. That was our one concession to pop music conventions. And so we're gonna do the world premiere right here and now. It's a track called Ghoul Fever. If you like what you hear, the album will be out mid-July on Bandcamp for everybody to download. It'll be streaming later in the year, but we're offering a limited edition classic Halloween blow mold USB version of the album designed by Crypto Curium. They do a lot of excellent stuff over there. This is going to be so cool. But those are going to go fast, so if you want priority access, you've got to email us at pitchblackmanor@gmail.com. We'll link out to that email address in the show notes. Just write, "I've got Ghoul Fever," and we'll get you on the list for those.
I see the guys are setting up over there if you want to join them. All right, folks, reuniting after 25 years. I used to dress up as a snake man and dance for these guys, which in retrospect seems like kind of a strange thing, but ladies and gentlemen, Pitch Black Manor!